Good evening. Welcome to the Finance Committee, November 19th, 2025. May I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Grumney,
Here.
Mayor St. John,
Here.
Mr. Keppel,
Here.
Mr. Air, here, Mr. Ghost,
Here.
Mr. Martin,
Here.
Mrs. Cooper. Yeah. 7 present, we have 4.
Thank you. And then we have some minutes to approve from the last meeting was held on October the 15th. May I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
A motion by Mr. Martin. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Air. Yes. Mr. Keppel.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
All right, thank you, Amber. Well, let's hop right to, I'm assuming turning to Ms. Steffen and talking about the 2026 budget review. I understand we have first reading tonight, so let's tackle.
Yes, thank you. On page 6 of your Finance Committee packet, there is the consolidated budget overview for 2026. And this will be on the agenda tonight for council for the first reading. And I want to spend all the time on talking about budget on this page right here. We can, if there are any questions on the subsequent pages, we can go into those, but most of it will focus on this page here, page 6. Just to draw your attention to the general fund, which is in the top line. As you can see, we have a projected balance at the end of 2026 of $7,367,000. And that's a little bit down from the expected balance this year of 8.8 million. Also in the total funds at the very bottom of the report, you can see that we are looking to project total fund balance at the end of 2026 of a little over 14 million. That's compared to a little over 15 million that we projected in 2025. I do want to draw your attention slightly to the differences in those numbers from beginning of year to end of year. They don't necessarily fall truly that way. So when we realize these actual numbers, typically the numbers go up in the funds as opposed to going down. And I did a little analysis since 2022 to show where the general fund was back then and where it is now, and where the total fund balance was then and is now. And we've got about a 25% increase overall from 2021. So it's going in the positive direction. So I didn't want anyone to get a little bit nervous about the fact that we're showing a decrease in those fund balances. I don't really expect them to be decreased, in other words. Some changes that have come in from last time you saw this budget. We did increase the stormwater expense by about $75,000 for a project that Jake wants to do for a redirection catch basin for a storm line at the reservoir. Also increased the budget for America 250. We added some money into the budget for that. I transferred some money into the Special Revenue Fund 213. And that is money from the general fund and from the sewer fund for wages. Also some, I guess some baseline assumptions that I put into the budget. We increased the health insurance premiums by 15%. We did receive our renewal and it's just under 15%. It's about 14% for next year. So we did budget for that increase. Raises went in at 3% across the board. Several new positions are included in this budget, which we will talk about in the next bullet point in tonight's meeting.
Ms. Steffen, can I ask a question about raises real quick? Are those merit-based, and is it a pool? So if it's a 3%, that doesn't mean everyone's guaranteed at 3%. That is, you could get a 4% or you could get a 2%, but the budget is 3%.
But yes,
Okay.
exactly. It's just a budgeted amount so that we
Right.
can put in a figure to work from.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
yes, it's not just because it's budgeted doesn't mean that everyone is going to automatically get that. There are performance evaluations
Right.
and things that happen.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. I think that is the majority of the changes from last time and also some assumptions that I wanted to reiterate. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or if anything is drawing your attention and you want to know more about it, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, if I could maybe just add a little bit, Dana and I talked a little bit about the general fund. So the anticipated revenue is just a little bit short of 8.6 million, expenditures just a little over 10. The actual operating expenses roughly aligned with the anticipated revenue. So we are sort of living on our current appropriations and our current revenue collections. That difference there is really transfers for capital related projects and other sort of like those types of special circumstances. So in my view, sort of the types of things that you would draw a reserve down from anyway to support that kind of an expenditure. And then just maybe a little bit on that special fund for wages. It's not to necessarily pay for wages. That's built into the general fund. This is really for those sort of unique wage expenses that come up. Yeah. Maybe.
Vacation payouts, sick payouts, the 27th payroll, when that comes around in a couple years, we'll have this reserve to not spike the budget in that 1 year when we would have had a larger expense that we wouldn't necessarily have had in another year.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And this accounts for the potential and reduction due to the property tax?
It does.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is anything going to happen to the COVID fund?
Yes, the COVID fund it has to be spent in 2026 before the end of the year. So it will be, it's appropriated and encumbered. It will be encumbered next year to spend for the J.R. Smith Park.
Any more questions from Ms. Steffen on this part? Okay, thank you. Does that move us on to the wage and salary ordinance then?
It does.
Okay,
The wage and salary ordinance starts on page 14. It goes 14 and 15 in your packet. And you've all seen this ordinance before. This is passed along with the budget or presented to council to be passed along with the budget. It just sets all the positions that are approved for the year and the mins and maxes for all of those positions. And of course, the number of positions. The changes that we've had here, we've added a permitting specialist and an engineering technician. Those are in the top, I guess, the first section before that first black line. And those are both to support the planning and zoning teams. And we also have built in a new fee structure to support these positions as well.
Yes. So on that, I mean, we still will need to get in front of council to approve the fee structure. So we won't hire this position until we've gotten that ordinance through council. But again, we had talked about this as part of the budgeting process.
In the second section there, this is the police department. We've added an additional police officer from 9 to 10. And we have, I think everything else is the same except for on the next page, we have added a part-time for mayor's court admin to support their admin staff over there. They're often needing to call on other departments for support whenever they have other people on vacation or just needs to support that operation over there. They can't leave it unattended. So, are there any? I don't think there's any other changes.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
The services department and the wastewater department are next. They follow, and no changes to those positions.
okay.
But I think I did actually, if I haven't, I should mention it. We do actually have a city employee who has passed their license 2 or their test certification 2 in the wastewater plant. I apologize. I did not mention that to this group. So Wesley Hirschberger
Nice.
has passed that. So trying to account for that position here. I mean, it's been in there for a couple of years now, but it's the first time we've had an employee advance to that level.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 full-time employees over there right now, in addition to Dale. One is a new transfer from our service department over there. So he's relatively new in wastewater, although he's worked previously in wastewater. The other one has passed their class 1 test, is just waiting for time in service. And then, like I said, Mr. Hirschberger has passed his second test. So as a result of that, Mr. Wampler took a vacation.
Good.
Well earned.
Well deserved.
Okay. Do we have any other questions about the wage and salary ordinance? Salary ordinance, we'll say it right. Salary put together.
Salad and celery.
Yeah,
Salary.
okay. Thank you, Ms. Steffen. We can go on to item 3 there, the quarterly investment review.
Yes, moving along. Every 3 months, I get to present you with some information on our investments. As of September 30th, starting on page 17 of your packet. At September 30th, we had about $22 million in cash and investments, and almost half of that is in overnight liquidity in Star Ohio and First Commonwealth Bank. The rest of it is sitting in Fifth Third Securities, invested in secure money markets, U.S. Treasuries, and investments such as that. The rest of the report is specifically about the types of investments we have at Fifth Third Securities. There's the holdings report there, and this is, again, as of September 30th. The weighted average, or I'm sorry, the current book yield is about 4.26%, and the duration is only about 1.1, so it's a little over a year on the average duration of all of our investments. The breakdown of our laddered investments is pretty consistent as how it's been in the past, about 16% in FDIC and insured CDs. The rest of it is in government agency bonds and the like. And on the next page, I have provided a bit of an economic update. I encourage you to read through this. It's not very long, but it talks about the interest rates and the Fed potentially increasing again for potentially a third time this year coming up. They have lowered the rate by twice this year. So we're about 3.75 to 4 percentage points for the interest rate. So with the short-term rates continuing to decline, I'm looking closely at our investment strategy to see if we can invest more money in our longer term, like 3 to 5 year investment, so that we can gain better yield whenever those come to fruition. The yield curve right now is looking like it's going to project higher yields further out. So we're going to look to capitalize on that. I'm happy to answer any questions on investments.
Any questions? Okay. I think next to the hot topic of cybersecurity.
Yes, cybersecurity. I attended the Ohio GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association, and DataServe was one of the companies there that presented. Coincidentally, Andy Volnick with Delaware County Transportation, he was one of the presenters for DataServe as well. So he was a very big supporter of this company. As you all know, House Bill 96 requires all political subdivisions to adopt a cybersecurity program, and cities are required to do this by January 1st of 2026. DataServe, what I learned at their presentation, they presented over their various concerns that are held by the local governments over cyber attacks and what their solutions that they have to identify and resolve those weaknesses. I was very impressed with their approach to the cybersecurity issue, and knowing that this has been a hot topic as of late, and it's something that Sunbury needs to look at a little more seriously. Not that we don't have anything in place; we do have safeguards in place, but we also know that we need to get a true assessment and build up our securities. So DataServe has this co-pilot program that they're starting off, and it's a 3-year program. And it's basically, the way I look at it is it's to fill a critical resource need that the city has with some experts. And what they will do is they'll do a risk assessment. First off the bat, they'll do a total risk assessment of our cybersecurity. They will look into our security policies and our procedures. They'll do staff training, ongoing staff training. They'll have endpoint protection and network security. They'll look at data backup and present a recovery plan, and also help us with an incident response plan. All of these things are required for our cybersecurity program that's required by the state. So I think it's a really good solution, and looks like to get that assessment, to know where we need to go and what we need to do to accomplish being more secure. So the cost for this co-pilot program is normally $12,600 a year, and it's a 3-year program, so that would be an annual cost. They are offering a discount if we join by the end of the calendar year. So it would be $9,600 a year for 3 years if we wanted to get in on that. Just to put things into perspective for you, we have already paid about around $8,000 to another supplier that we have for some training. And that's just for training alone. That's not for anything else that DataServe would provide. So the cost, it's really kind of a wash, and we're getting a lot more with DataServe if we decided to go with this. Also, there are some highly recommended references. Johnstown Monroe Local Schools uses DataServe, and they're very happy with the product and with the company and with the trainers that they've been given, the people they're working with. They're also SOC 2 certified, so they come highly recommended from that perspective as well. So I do have a little information on what they offer on page 19 of your packet. So if there's any questions or anyone wants any more information, or maybe a little indication of if you're interested at all in this, not interested.
I mean, I'm 100% supportive of this because cybersecurity is no joke. It is, it's a mess out there. And it's not just when you get hit, or if you'll get hit, it's when you get hit, and there's the cost of recovery, the disruption, the hit to your reputation. I mean, all of that goes into play. How are you going to communicate if something happens? So I think having someone come in that's the expert, because we're clearly not. I mean, no offense to anyone, but none of us know how to protect the city from cyber attackers. And then, do we currently have a cyber, and maybe this is a question I should ask you, insurance policy?
We do. Yes.
We do. Okay. Okay.
And on that fact, DataServe would answer all those questions for it. It's a big, long questionnaire. I don't know if any of you have seen it lately, but for cybersecurity and insurance, it's like a book. It's like a novel. You have to answer all these questions. DataServe would help us with that and make sure that we have everything in place that we need to.
As society moves more towards online action and transactions, I mean, the risk increases. And then I think somebody kind of needs to understand what is our risk tolerance, right? Are we zero risk tolerance? So do we lock things down, or are we, okay, 80-20, what is that? Because you can spend a lot of money making things, and you're still not gonna be 100% secure. But I think the idea of a incident response plan is key, because you don't want to be making decisions in the midst of a cyber attack, because you'll be scrambling. So, thank you for that. I fully support that. I'm one person. So
Are we compliant for the state law for January 1st without this?
Without this, we would be, as long as we develop the program and put the policy in place. We don't have a policy right now that would be sufficient for House Bill 96.
What work have we done? Look, if we didn't go through with this, if council said, you know what, don't do it. What's the plan?
We've got training right now currently through VC3. It's a staff training. It doesn't include the police officers.
Right.
That is, and whatever else Tony does it, which I'm not sure what Tony does at Edge.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is this. So in order to be compliant, we need to have the plan written and approved by council. I don't know that we have to do a lot of action on the plan before the end of the calendar year to be compliant with the state law. So we'll have time to, I think, be able to develop a policy and at least get it in front of council. But you've got staff who, again, really not well equipped to be able to do that. Will probably mimic some other communities' cybersecurity policy, if you will. But I was going to add, I mean, we did earlier this year, we were researching other cybersecurity options even before the state law went into effect. We looked at the state was offering a program. I'm trying to remember exactly who that was through, whether it was through the auditor's office or what happened. And what we ultimately learned on that one is that, one, it was a waiting game. They weren't going to get to us because we were a smaller community. They were working in other counties elsewhere in the state before they would get to us. The other thing is they were asking us to sign, which I just could not quite understand what this was, but they were asking us to sign a non-disclosure. Non-disclosure agreement. I'm thinking, how can a state agency be asking us as a public entity to sign a non-disclosure agreement? Yeah, I don't exactly quite understand what they were trying to do, except to say that they didn't want us to basically disclose the process that they were using, but it really applied to all of our documents. So long story short, it really just wasn't working out. The other thing is we also learned VC3 didn't really have the capability then to do the assessment. And I really think that's critical. because that's what we started out looking for, somebody to help us do the assessment. And so that's where I think this provides a lot more value than kind of our current vendor. As I think Dana had indicated, we would swap out the current vendor. I mean, this is not an additional cost. This is basically a replacement of cost and a substitution of a different vendor in its place.
$1,000 more a year
Right,
net, and that's the easy button to compliance.
right.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
And it's on sale.
And
As my wife.
it's in the budget.
Yes.
And it's in the budget. So, okay.
So it looks like
We'll
we're.
continue to proceed down that path. Thanks.
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good with that. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Steffen.
Yes.
So now I think we have Ms. Rita to talk about.
Ms. Rita,
Yes.
everyone's favorite Rita.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give council an update, finance committee, sorry, an update on where we stood with the Rita mailers. I showed these to you at a different meeting, but I do have an actual mailer here. I did mail out lots of them. So at the ravines at Meadow Ridge, page 20 of your packet shows where I'm sending these, page 20 and 21. I sent 193 postcards to residents that currently reside at the ravines of Meadow Ridge. In Price Ponds, we sent it to 158 homes, and I wanted to show everyone the area of Price Ponds that I did. I want to get your feedback to see if there's any other areas that you feel I should be mailing these to. I'm happy. I've got more. I can order more if I need. Just want to make sure we're covering everybody. On the next page, I also
May I
have.
ask a question? It appears to me that you mailed the exact number of postcards of houses not occupied.
Oh,
So why do you send them to not occupied houses?
I didn't. I don't.
But says,
know.
oh, I skipped the word "un" in front of it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, I just wanted to list how many were unoccupied. I did not send any to unoccupied homes.
Okay.
You're allowed one mistake.
Oh, thanks.
But I will be watching the auditor's site to see when these homes do become occupied. I will send cards to those residents as well. So
Is there
they
any
are,
way to know when the Romanelli apartments, when those individual ones are occupied?
I would get that information directly from the developer or the apartment complex manager. And that's what I did to get the addresses and names for the ravines at Meadow Ridge. So I would follow the same process.
Yeah, so maybe this is a good time to chime in just a little bit. So yeah, those apartments become a little bit of a challenge, right? Because they don't have independent or individual sewer accounts, and that was really what was kind of driving
Right.
our notice to new homeowner or new residents, if you will. Not completely, but and the other thing is these guys are or some of the homes are served by the Delaware County Regional Sewer District, so we're not creating an account for them. So the fact that the developer is working with us to help identify the residents, is really helpful for sure.
First Ponds area looks good, and then one area, just do a cross reference on Rolling Hills.
Okay.
I mean, they've had a couple years to file, so I would say if there's not 150 filings or thereabout, if we're like in the 100 range, 110, we've got a gap.
That's what I was worrying about, that section below Price Pond. Yeah. Okay.
You captured it in Price Pond. Great job, by the way. Sorry to cut you off.
No, thank you.
Also, on page 21, Magnolia Park, there's 26 postcards mailed there and 41 postcards mailed to Eagle Creek. There's still a lot unoccupied in Eagle Creek, but as I mentioned before, I'll go back and revisit the auditor site to see when those are occupied and send them out.
And will these be mailed out to anyone going forward, anyone new into the community and maybe in a pre-existing home or?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay.
That is the goal. I don't have to think about the process to put that in place, but yes,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Okay. Cause I know we do like welcome to Sunbury, so that might throw one of those in a packet or something. So welcome to Sunbury. Sorry to tell you. Yeah. So,
The welcome package does include a reference to Rita, but this is a more specific.
Yeah.
mailing.
okay, very good.
Okay, any other places or little pockets around town that you feel that I should be sending these to. If you think of any, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep following my process.
Looks like next item is year-to-date comparison reports.
Yeah. I'm struggling on what to tell you guys. I don't have much more information besides what's in here to tell you. There's not a whole lot out of the ordinary, which is good. Everything is standard. We've been receiving revenues on track. Our income taxes are projected to exceed budget by about $200,000. So we budgeted 6 million. Looks like we'll get about 6.2.
I mean, we all have an opportunity to review this prior to the meeting, so my interest when we get to something like this is rely on you, that if you see something you think that needs pointed out, if we don't bring it up.
Yeah.
Then, but if that is nothing, that's also okay. So that we don't, I'm not one to make someone talk just because there's time to fill. So even though I do that all the time.
Perfect. Love it. Yeah, so on the revenues, not much to report. On the expenses, again, there's highlighted yellows, which we've talked about all of these in the past. So really nothing to point out.
Okay, any questions? Stefan?
Can I call one thing out? I just thought about this. I don't know if we've ever talked about this. On page 30, there's a line item for, it's off to the right under, it just says 29,400 van for camera system. I don't know if everybody's seen this, but this is an amazing thing that Dale did. He got, I'm gonna call it a Sprinter van, right? I mean, just the shell, and outfitted it with, like, I mean, you've been to the State of the City where I'm showing you pictures of what like the sewer camera crawler looks like. I mean, it kind of looks like a little RC car on tracks, and it's got wires and stuff. But he built an office in this van. So like, I mean, when I say an office, I mean, first of all, it's for a sewer department as far as, you know, camera operated system. But I was so impressed with like Dale's ingenuity, and my gosh, that guy is like MacGyver. I think we all know that, but has everybody seen that? Okay, does it just pop out of nowhere for me? So maybe Carla, if you can like work with Dale to get some pictures of that, because I was really impressed with his work. And I mean, it just shows that people really care about their jobs and making it easier to do their jobs as well. It's pretty cool. Got a little command center in the back of the van where you can operate this thing from.
And not only did he do a great job on that, he also saved a lot of money to the city because
Yes, he did.
that was a very good price.
Yeah, he said it was gonna, if you would have bought that, it was gonna be like $100,000 or something. Yeah, more than that.
I know I'm dating myself, but do we have the paint? Can we make it look like the 18 van, black with the red?
Yeah, I was thinking Ghostbusters or
Ghostbusters,
something like that.
yes.
It's actually kind of a little creepy. It is like the standard white van.
Oh, help me with that, Alice. Yeah.
With cameras in it.
Yeah.
That are calling under your house.
Well,
Yikes.
you heard it like the,
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Stephens. So I think that moves us to, are we at the bank to book reconciliation?
Yes.
Check register?
Yes. Before we flip the page on the agenda, the income tax at the very bottom of the front page there, I'll just talk about that briefly. You're at as of October 31st, 5.1 million, which is 16.8% higher than this time last year. And income taxes are continuing to increase. And I feel like with the mailers that have gone out, I feel like 2026 is going to be a good year, even better than what we've projected. On the bank balances and the bank's book reconciliation, on the back page of your packet, the first page, 23 million in total cash. Outstanding checks total about 167,000, giving us a book balance of $23 million, just over 23 million, and a variance of 18,000 has been identified, and I can provide details upon request if needed. Also, as is typical in your packet, I have included the year-to-date fund reports and all of the checks and memo checks and ACHs that have been paid in October. for full transparency, you can see everything that was spent. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
There's still dog expenses?
No, there are not. Canine was retired.
Well, thank you, Ms. Devon. I appreciate it. Anything else to add?
I'd just say on the income tax, I mean, I know we always, first of all, we run a tight ship, all things considered. And I think every year when we get into budget season, you know, to back up a little bit, it's like, okay, we're dipping into like what we would call the reserves. I don't know if I'd look at it like that. I mean, every year, if you look historically, especially for those who have been on council for many years, I mean, you see the cash balances going up year over year, and that's for the right reasons. To the reason you asked, you know, raises 3% across the board, but it doesn't mean we're giving 3%. You have turnover. You have, I mean, numerous things where like you plan on buying something in January and you don't buy it until April, you know, that saves money. But the gist of it, like when you look at the income tax in particular, you know, our income tax or our income revenue is almost 17%. We didn't grow the city by 17% last year. So when you think of like, is there a direct relationship between population or houses or like the expense side of things? The answer is no. So revenues are outpacing expense growth, which is exactly where you want to be. Which is good. Good work.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, anything else before we close this down? All right, may I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Mayor St. John,
Second.
second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Gauss,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas, we are adjourned.